In a 3 to 6 year old classroom, this is now where formal academics take place. All of our lead teachers here at Brighton Montessori are trained in the Montessori philosophy and have worked in a Montessori environment. The teachers really design the classroom to meet the children's needs. Once again, we're talking about independence. We're talking about taking the initiative in their learning. We have several different Montessori materials that she designed over 100 years ago. The philosophy's been around for decades, and it's still around because it's one that works. We're really working with the children with hands-on learning. So they get to see their learning, they get to feel their learning, they get to hear their learning. So we're meeting any child's learning styles. One big thing is that we talk a lot about peer conflict resolution and how to do that peacefully, how to do it with empathy. And we have a peace curriculum that when children are having a little conflict amongst each other, the teacher encourages them to come over and helps mediate the conversation so that the children resolve the issue together. We want them to be successful now and help coach them through how to have a conversation with someone when someone's hurt their feelings, or someone's taken something from them, or someone doesn't make them feel like they belong. So that the children grow up very confident to continue to stand up for themselves when they know that they've been hurt. And so we have our peace curriculum that we talk a lot about that beginning of the school year, and the kids really feel involved in helping make someone feel better and helping people understand what they didn't like, and sometimes just giving them that guidance and that direction really helps the children understand that my actions have consequences. And so we really foster that in our classroom environment here. The children are guided over here with a teacher, and they're given the peace rose, and the whole point of the peace rose is that who's ever holding it gets to speak. It's their turn to talk and share their feelings, share their thoughts, while the other one is listening. And then when they're done, they pass it along, and the child that was doing the listening now gets to talk and understand and either find a way to help resolve the problem. So it's working as a conversation piece to help rectify a conflict very peacefully, and so that the children begin to understand that even though I've made a mistake, I can fix it, and even though I was hurt, people do listen to me, and now I do feel better. So our peace curriculum really helps with that understanding of conflict resolution and knowing that I can be heard, I'm listened to, and I can take action on how to help the situation. One of the foundational pieces in a Montessori classroom is practical life. We actually do practical life from infancy to toddlers to now 3 to 6. Practical life is just teaching young children everyday living skills. So for an infant, it's teaching them how to self-feed. It's learning how to wash your hands. In toddlers, it's learning how to wipe your nose and put your shoes on and your coat on. Those are real life practical experiences. In our pre-primary classroom, the students are still learning those things, but now we're taking that learning and we're bringing it to works on the shelf that are very attractive to the young child, because we want to develop their concentration. We want them to develop their sense of order, their independence. And so an activity might be where a young child is learning how to pour, and they're learning how to carry a tray to the table. They're pouring whatever items are in the vessels back and forth. And they're doing it until they feel complete, and then they can return it to the shelf. And that's the nice thing about a Montessori environment, is that it's not where teachers are coming in and setting up the works, and the students are only can do those works on a rotation basis. They can come in, a student can come and write to practical life and work in practical life until they feel filled, and then they can move into a math lesson. the nice thing about a Montessori environment is that it's like an office feel. You know, I always tell parents that when you go to work every day and you know what you have to get done, and it doesn't always matter the order of how your checklist of items needs to get done, as long as it's done at the end of the day. And the same thing with the Montessori environment is that there are students that are working at tables or rugs, but the nice thing is that everything in the classroom is very purposeful and designed for the children to be successful. If they have a spill, several times throughout the year, the teachers will actually put water on the shelves for the children to learn to pour and scoop and squeeze. And if there's a spill, it's okay. They have the materials they need to clean it up, be successful, and it actually teaches them, like, oops, sorry, next time we have to try a little bit more carefully. And they learn that on their own without a teacher telling them. The teachers just has the stuff there, knowing that a spill could happen. And the child can independently and successfully clean it up and continue on. And it's just giving them that ability to understand that accidents are going to happen, and it's okay. We have stuff to help take care of that. And so that's a really nice thing. So Practical Life is really a foundational piece in our classroom. Another foundational piece is Sensorial. Another foundational piece in our classroom is Sensorial. Sensorial is really developing the child's 5 senses through the materials on the shelf. It's also preparing a young child for their mathematical mind. Everything in Sensorial is in a set of 10. So a young child at the age of 3 is learning how to grade various sizes using a material like this called the knob cylinders. But what also they're learning is the base of 10 for everything. And so without, a lot of our materials in our classroom have more than one meaning behind it. And so it's also a really good pre-writing work because the children are using their pincer-graphs, which they need later on for writing. So they're holding the knobs one at a time. They're building their hand-eye coordination. One cylinder can only fit in one of the vessels. It's developing language. So a lot is going on in one material for a young child. And the really nice thing to see is that a young 3-year-old walking in the classroom, this is a challenging work for them. But as they repeat and come back to the material and practice again, they get better and better each time. And before you know it, they have successfully completed the work. Our teachers are always encouraging the students to repeat. And the nice thing is that if a young child is able to do something, we're continuing progressing them along. No 2 children are on the same learning curve in our classroom environments, which is really fun for us teachers because we get to meet the child where we're at and we get to help be part of their growth along the way. And so that's the real beauty of our classroom, is that we get to help our students become the individuals that they already are. We're just helping them strengthen it and gain that confidence in it. So in math, the young students are learning numbers. They're learning number recognition, once again, very tactilely through sandpaper numbers. Eventually, we're going to take their numerals and we're going to add quantity to it, and they get to count. Once they become successful at that, we're going to progress them along and refine their counting skills. We're going to start adding in numeric equations. We're going to start adding in the decimal system and learning place value of thousands, tens, and hundreds. And we do that very, very concretely. Young children are learning to count 1 through 10 through objects that they can concretely see. Through our spindle box is one great example that young children really enjoy. They're successful at it, knowing that there's enough spindles in the basket to coordinate with our numbers on our boxes. Eventually, we'll get even into smaller counting objects through beads. And they get to learn color association to the beads for later on in their math curriculum. The decimal system, they're learning thousands and a cube. They're learning hundreds and a square. They're learning tens through a 10 bar, and they're learning a unit through a bead. And they can concretely see how thousands are very large quantity, where one is a very small quantity. So they really get to feel it, they get to see it, and that's how they get to know it. So it stays with them from the time that they're learning this on through their elementary years. And you'll find a lot of things in our Montessori environments actually end up in elementary Montessori schools as well, because it doesn't, the learning for a child doesn't change. It's just the concepts get bigger. So they still have the materials to help them learn, which is really fun for a child. Our language curriculum is designed for children to be successful in matching and in sequencing, which is all the foundation for reading. Eventually they get into sandpaper letters, and we divide them up into sets. So very tactilely, the children learn the sounds of a letter. So a teacher would show them that this is, and they trace. Eventually, they'll move into object matching. So the teacher will have objects in a basket that coordinate with the sound. And so they have hat. Hat begins with, and so it's really teaching them the sequence of reading. So when they get to reading a book, if they get to a word that they don't know, they can sound it out and be successful. So we understand the concept of language and that it's a sequential order, so that the students are learning their sounds, their beginning sounds, and then we move into middle sounds and ending sounds. And then before we know it, a young child can get out the movable alphabet box. And from here, they get to build words in order to then read the words. And they do it in self-isolation. So a teacher's giving a child the word hat. They can find the a, and they can find t, and successfully build out the word hat. So everything that we teach in our pre-primary classroom is a sequential order. We want children to be successful before they move on to the next lesson. And the nice thing is that the teachers can take the children along the classroom and show them, this is where you are working, this is the lesson you want next, these are the ones you have to do in between, so that you can get there. Because we want to set a student up for success. But it's also nice because the children get to be in an environment where there are kids that are reading. There are kids that are, doing math equations. There are students who are building with several different materials. And they all get to participate in some way, either through observation, maybe it's through being a helper, or it's just the fact that they walked past a child who was talking with the teacher about a lesson that they're being given, and it sparked that one child's interest, and they get to be part of that conversation as well. And so our environment really lends itself to just letting the kids truly grow and develop at their own pace without worrying about trying to get to an end result. We understand at Brighton Montessori that it is really important for us to have open communication with our families. One of our core values is partnership. And so we have a digital daily app through Kangaroo Time that all parents receive access to when they enroll here at our school. And the nice thing is that you get live feed as far as your infant and toddler, whether they've had a diaper change, their meal, nap time, and it's also a nice communication tool throughout the day that you and your child's teacher can communicate back and forth through our text messaging system. Parents are able to have pictures sent to them, as well as it's a communication tool that we use as a whole school to connect with our families for any important information that we need to send out. So our teachers really make sure that they are keeping up to date with this Kangaroo Time app, so that way you know exactly what's going on in your child's day at school. So being a Montessori school, we have a lot of natural wood materials, and health and safety for our students and our staff is our #1 priority. Here we have a Zono machine. It's actually a sanitizing cabinet that all of our teachers use on a daily basis. From our infants who are very oral, this is just another layer of sanitizing that we do to make sure that the materials that are in their environment are as clean as possible. To our pre-primary students who are working with materials every day and it has a lot of different hands touching them, we want to make sure that those materials stay clean and sanitized as well. So every day our teachers take the cart to their classroom, load up their items, anything from crayons, markers, plastic materials, wood materials, boppy pillows, cots, whatever it is that they want to sanitize. We take it, wheel it into the Zono machine, which uses ozone. So it's actually using oxygen, which helps us eliminate the use of harsh chemicals here at our school. And it's cleaning everything and sanitizing everything from the inside out, our porous materials and non-porous materials. So we're as effective as we can in keeping our students and our staff as healthy as possible. If you know that this is an environment that you've been looking for your child to be able to grow and learn at their own pace, along with building strong relationships with their peers and with their teachers, we encourage you to come in for a tour, see our classrooms in action, meet our teachers, and just really absorb what our true Montessori environment would do for your child. We look forward to seeing you real soon.